Here are solutions to homework set number 13 for ECE 111. This homework set looks at phasors. Now, last week we looked at complex numbers. If you're dealing with DC or constant voltages and currents, then real numbers work fine. When you start dealing with sine waves, then you need complex numbers. The reason being is for a sine wave, you have two terms, sine and cosine, or in polar form, amplitude and delay. Complex numbers let you handle that. The first problem is with phasors, I can represent a sine wave. So suppose the voltage and the current across the device look like so. What is the phasor representation for voltage and current, and what's the ratio, meaning the impedance? Well, in generalized sine wave can be written two different ways. You can have A times cosine omega t plus B times sine of omega t. That's one way to represent it. Or I can also say amplitude and phase shift. So that's rectangular form and polar form. Personally, I like rectangular form for calculations, but in lab, polar form is actually easier to see. In polar form, the amplitude is the peak. So for the voltage right here, I know the voltage has a peak of 3. To get the angle, look at the delay. So this has a delay of about 1.2 milliseconds. One period is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.2. So the phase shift is 1.2 millisecond delay. Okay, so 10.4 millisecond period. It's that percentage of one cycle. One cycle is 360. So the phase shift is minus 41 degrees. So this is the voltage. Peak is 3, delayed by 41 degrees. Again, 0 degrees phase shift is right here. Cosine is a peak at t equals 0. If the peak happens after t equals 0, that's your delay, or angle. So the voltage is 3 at minus 41 degrees. That's polar form. I could represent it that in rectangular form then, the real part's cosine minus j is sine. For the current, same idea. The current, I've got a peak of about 2.5 milliamps. And the delay is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 millisecond delay. Period is 10.4 milliseconds. That percentage of one cycle, or minus 345 degrees. I can also write that as plus 14.8 degrees. Math error there. So the current is 2.5 milliamps at plus 13.8 degrees. The impedance then is just the ratio. Take the ratio of two complex numbers, they get a complex number. That apparently is the impedance of whatever I'm measuring. Problem 2 looks at adding resistors, capacitors, and inductors in series and parallel. Now this is where you need to use complex numbers. In series, you add. In parallel, it's 1 over. So take the first resistance, inverse, take the second resistance, take its inverse, add them, take the result, then invert it. That's R1 in parallel with R2. Also works for complex numbers. So in Matlab, to combine these two, I've got 90 in parallel with minus J30. So take 1 over 90 plus 1 over minus J30, add those, and take the inverse. There's the net result. These two look like 9 minus J27 ohms. These two, 100 in parallel with J250, is 1 over J250 plus 1 over 100 gives you 86 plus J34 ohms. That's these two. These are in series, so the total resistance is J300 plus Z2 plus Z1. So all this mess is Z3. That is 95 plus J307. In parallel with 20 minus J150, in parallel you take the inverse, plus 1 over the inverse of 20 minus J150, add them, take the inverse. All this is 111 minus J223. In series with 70, plus 70. So the net result is, there's your impedance. Now this is where HP calculators really shine. You need to be able to solve this type of problem when you get to circuits 1, because that'll be on tests. In Matlab, that works if you can use Matlab on tests. Otherwise, you need to use a hand calculator. Well, HPs work really well. To do that, I first input a complex number. To do that, there's this complex function. So we do like 1, enter 2, complex, that's 1 plus j2. So doing that, I'll take 90 in parallel with minus j30, so you take the inverse, input negative j30, 0, enter negative 30, complex, there's 0 minus j30, take its inverse, add the inverses, take the inverse. These two are 9 minus j27. Now let's do 100 in parallel with j250. So here's 100, take its inverse, 0, enter 250, complex, take its inverse, add inverse. These are in series, they add. In series with j300, 0, enter 300, complex, that adds. In parallel we take the inverse, 20, enter negative 150, complex, take its inverse, add inverse, add 70, and poof, there's your answer, 181 minus j223. Now which calculator you use is totally up to you. Just make sure you can solve this type of problem because you're going to need to do that when you get to circuits 1. Problem 3. Here's another problem. What's the total impedance? So again, this is series and parallel. I'll take 200 in parallel with minus j50. So take the inverses, add them, take the inverse. So these together are 11 minus j47 ohms. In series with 20 plus j40, this is 31 minus j7 ohms. In parallel with minus j25, in parallel with 100 with 100 ohms, add the inverses, take the inverse. So all this is 8 minus j11 ohms. In series with 10 plus j20 gives you 18 plus j8 ohms. So all this together is 18 plus j8. And you can do that on an HP calculator too. Problem 4. Suppose I have this circuit and the input is a constant, 10. Find the voltages. In that case, I know the answer is going to be constant. Constant in gives you constant out. Just have to find the constant. To do that, I'll do voltage nodes and phasors. So replace each of the terms, the voltage source, inductors, capacitors, with their phasor impedance. Frequency is 0. 10 is 10 times cosine of 0t. So there's your omega 0. If omega 0, the voltage source becomes 10. 10 means 10. Inductors j omega L, j0. Capacitors 1 over j omega C, 1 over 0 is infinity. What infinity means is the current is voltage over impedance. This current is 0. Zero current means you can ignore. So basically ignore inductors, they're shorts. Ignore capacitors, they're open at DC. Now write the node equations. I've got 3 nodes. I need to write 3 equations for 3 unknowns. First equation is easy. V0 is 10. Second equation is the current left, V1 minus V0 over 10, plus the current down, V1 over 100, plus the current right, V1 minus V2 over 20, equals 0. I don't need to worry about the capacitor because the current is 0. And the third equation is at V2, current left, V2 minus V1 over 20, plus V2 over 200, and this is 0. Those two terms add to 0. Now solve. So to solve, I'm going to group the terms, put it in matrix form, throw it into Matlab. So call this A, call that B. The voltage is inverse of A times B. And here's my answer. To check your answer, throw it in CircuitLab. So build the circuit in CircuitLab, apply a constant 10 volt source, find the voltages V0, V1, V2, and I can do a DC analysis. Same answer I got before. So if your answer matches up with CircuitLab, you probably did it right. That's a DC. Suppose instead of DC I have a sine wave. Well, this is actually no different, except now I have complex numbers. The source is J10. Again, the real part's cosine minus J is sine, so 0 cosine, 10 sine. Inductor becomes J omega L. This is omega, 300. So J omega L becomes J30, J60. Capacitor is 1 over J omega C. Makes this one minus J16, minus J33. Now, write the node equations, just like we did before, except now we've got complex numbers. The first equation is V0 is minus J10. Second equation is V1, I get the current left. V1 minus V0 over 10 plus J30, plus V1 over 100, plus V1 over minus J16, plus V1 minus V2 over 20 plus J60 equals 0. And the third equation, V2 minus V1 over 20 plus J60, plus V2 over 200, plus V2 over minus J33 equals 0. 3 equations, 3 unknowns, solve. So once again, I group the terms, place in matrix form, throw in Matlab. So here's A, here's B. Voltage is inverse of A times B. Poof. This is where Matlab really shines. Matlab can do n equations, n unknowns with real numbers, complex numbers. Matlab doesn't care. What this means is the real part's cosine minus J is sine. I can check my answer. In Circuit Lab, build the circuit, make this a sine wave at 300 radians per second. Omega is 2 pi f. Frequency is in hertz. That's not natural. Radians per second is natural units. So if this is 300, divide by 2 pi, I get 47.75 hertz. Here I have to do a transient simulation, because these are sine waves. I need to see what the waveforms look like. So I run a transient simulation for a couple cycles. So this is your V0. Here's V1, V2. Polar form is easier to see. Polar form, the peak is the amplitude. So find the magnitude of V that matches up. That's 10 volts, 8 volts, 7.02 volts. There's also a delay, phase shift. That's the other part of the complex number. But if the amplitude matches up, you probably did it right. So that is homework set number 13 for ECE 111, Introduction to ECE. Once again, we're using n equations and unknowns, but now with complex numbers. When you start dealing with AC circuits, you're stuck with complex numbers, and Matlab works really, really well at n equations and unknowns, works really well for real numbers, works really well for complex numbers. And that is homework set number 13.